Hi, welcome back to Art and Soul. My name is Mike Severin. Glad you could join me again today. I'm excited. We're about ready to start in on a new painting, and I think this is one that you'll enjoy, and it's pretty simple, but yet I think that a lot of your friends and family is really going to like it. What we've got here today is 16 by 20 stretch canvas. This one is a black canvas, and it's been painted in the gesso. You can purchase them like this, or you can paint them yourself with the black gesso. I kind of like them just because it kind of gives a little bit of a different effect to the finished painting. You'll see it as the painting starts to develop, where those black areas are actually going to bring more of your eye and the focus in on the subject. And what we're going to be doing in this painting, it'll probably take us 2 or 3 sessions to do it. I'm probably guessing 3. We're gonna be doing a wine bottle that's going to be sitting here with a couple of wine glasses maybe off to the side here, sitting on a little table, and maybe cascading down here in the background will be some grape leaves and vines that come down and maybe even coming across the edge of the table. So that's kind of what we're going to do. And today I'm just going to kind of sketch out kind of where everything is going to be laid out on the picture, and then we can take and start putting in some background and actually start the painting itself. So the first thing we want to kind of establish here is, where is the back edge of this table that it's going to be sitting on? And remember, we try to work in thirds. So about 1/3 of the way up the canvas is where we're going to have that the edge of that table. And we want to try to do this so that it's as accurate, or not accurate, but it's even across. So I'm just kind of using my finger down here on the top of the easel just scoring a line across. So we've got a pretty even line across there. And we can fine-tune that as we need. And this is just basically just the laying out of the subject matter we're doing. So now we're going to be doing a wine bottle, and there's lots of shapes of wine bottles that we can do, but I'd kind of like the wine bottle. I think the bottom of it may be sitting about here, and we're going to go about there for a width on it, and we'll come up. And again, this is just a rough outline. We're not looking for anything detailed here at this point. Just trying to get just a general outline of where we're going to place things. And I don't know how well that's showing up on the screen, but hopefully you can see that. So I've got just a real rough outline of a wine bottle there. And then we'll put in a couple wine glasses that are over here. And there's the top of it. And I would encourage you, maybe if you're doing this at home, maybe take and pull out a wine bottle and a glass and just kind of use that as a reference, just as a still life, basically. So we've got kind of a wine glass that's a little more forward here, and we'll just have another one that's just kind of maybe in the background, just a little bit behind that one. And so because it is farther back, it's going to be a little smaller, obviously. It comes down, the stem comes down here. Yeah, something like that. So we've got, you can see we've got a wine bottle here with our 2 glasses. And I don't know, we may end up just eliminating one of the glasses. We'll just kind of see how it starts developing, and we can always change it. And then we'll have some of these leaves that come down, and I want to make sure that they come across, and then they'll come down and across our table here, maybe across in front of the wine bottle itself. So we've got kind of an outline here. I want this to be a real warm, inviting feeling. And so I want to take this background color, and I want to make it kind of like a Tuscan, like a stucco type of a feel to it. And so how we're going to do that is I'm going to grab my big 2-inch brush here, or 2.5-inch brush, and I'm going to just go straight into some burnt umber, and we'll just take and lay this in up here in this dark area. And the nice thing with the black canvas is I don't have to worry that I'm covering up every single part of that canvas like you would with a lot of if it was white. So I've got that burnt umber. Now I'm going to grab just a little bit of the burnt sienna, and I'm going to incorporate that in as well, a little bit farther in towards the wine bottle. Maybe just a hair bit more of that. And kind of working it up into that burnt umber. And yes, I'm going to be going across the top of where that sketch was, but that's okay. I just want to kind of have that more as an outline. So now I'm going into the yellow ochre, same thing, and I'm going to go in a little tighter now towards the bottle. And across like that. Up. I'm not really worried a whole lot about this corner because it's going to have a lot of those leaves and vines that are hanging down in the background there. And go kind of down along the side of that wine bottle and across here. Okay, you're going, man, what a mess you've got going there. It's all part of this process of underpainting. So now I'm going to take and go right into, not clean my brush yet, still going to go right into the titanium white, just grabbing some on my brush. And now I'm going to take and I'm going to start bringing that in, the lighter over here towards the bottle and the glass. And this is going to be kind of a real mottled looking background, and grabbing some more of the titanium white here, and I'm just dropping that in, and it's picking up obviously those colors that we put down of that burnt umber, the burnt sienna, and that yellow ochre. That looks pretty good. I think I'd like to have it a little more yellow, or more towards the yellow ochre feel to it. Be a little more, I think, the effect that I want. So rather than going straight into the yellow ochre, I'm going to take just a bit of the cad yellow here, and I'm going to incorporate it in. And it's going to mix with the colors that we've got on there. And as you can see, it kind of takes more towards that yellow ochre tones to it there. Yeah, I like that. We want this to be a real warm, inviting painting. Something just a real relaxing painting to look at. A little more of that yellow. We'll throw that up here. I like the feel of that much better. That really gives more of the effect that I'm wanting. But like everything else, it's a personal preference. You may want yours a little brighter or a little darker, or a different hues of color, and that's okay. That's fine. So now we've got that kind of blocked in of that background. I want to take now and put in our foreground here of that tabletop. And again, don't worry a whole lot that you are covering over what you've painted. That's fine. It just kind of gives you at least an outline of where we're going with it. So I'm going straight now into that burnt sienna, and I'm just going to incorporate this in, go around the bottom of that bottle, up here on the sides to where that edge of the table would be. But I'm not covering up all of that black. We're leaving that on there, a lot of it, just because that's a big part of why we're using this black canvas. Is it just gives it part of that effect that we're wanting to, where the subject matter of the glass and the wine bottle are going to stand out better. All right, so we've got that across. We've got our, basically that edge of our table line back there. And then back here, or up front here, I want to bring in kind of more of a grayish, some highlights that are coming across that table. So I'm grabbing the burnt sienna, or the burnt umber, sorry about that. Some of the white we're going to incorporate in there, and I'm going to touch just a touch of the purple in there as well. And that'll just gray it down just a little bit. Yeah, I'm liking that. In fact, I want to add a little more of that purple in there. You don't see it, the purple. A lot of people are afraid to use purples, but the purples, if you look in almost any picture, or even just out in nature, if you really start looking closely, you can see there's a lot of purples that are in nature. So we've added in that purple in there with the burnt sienna and that burnt umber. So now I want to take and I want to lighten this up just a little bit across the few little spots. So I'm just going to go right into, if you notice, I still have yet to clean my brush. A lot of people, that drives them crazy, but when you're trying to blend and get these mottled colors, I have found that it's easier, at least for me, if I just use the same brush without cleaning it out. It just kind of has more continuity with the colors that you're working with. So I'm just going to hit just a few little spots here, and then I'm going to blend them out. Yeah, about like that. I don't want this all to be really light. What I want it is to be like there's maybe little bands of light that are hitting here on this table. And that looks good across like that. And this is one of those things, you know, it just takes some practice. You know, you can sit and watch me paint all the time, and that's fine. I'm glad you're doing that. But you know, it's like I used to watch the physician's channel all the time, and they would have these surgeries on there, and I've watched dozens of open heart surgeries, and I love watching it. But I don't think anybody's ever going to call me up and go, Mike, I need open heart surgery. You know, I hear you've watched a lot. Can you come and do my surgery for me? I mean, obviously nobody's going to do that. But, you know, I think that it's one of those things that you can learn a lot by watching, but the best way to learn it is to actually pick up a brush and start doing it yourself. So we've got pretty good, at least, start to our background. Now I'd like to kind of block in this wine bottle up front here, and we're just going to block it in basically to begin with, and maybe a little bit of the glass, and then you'll see, you know, this is all part of a building process, and this is what they call, you know, doing the groundwork or the background. Underpainting is another term that's used quite often. So now I'm grabbing just a little 1-inch brush here, and what I'm going to do is I want to take and go right into a lot of this little mud here that I made with the purple and the burnt sienna, and I'm going to add in a little bit of the yellow ochre into that. A little more white into that, a little of the purple, and you can do your wine bottle any color that you want. But what we want is we want to have a dark color to begin with. So, and we've got the black there, true, but I want to do something that's a little different color-wise. So we'll just kind of just start blocking this bottle in. You know, if there's a certain type of wine bottle that you like, or a wine that you like, and you're wanting to paint, you know, just grab a bottle and set it up and paint it. This is just kind of just a generic one that's kind of in my head here, so I'm just gonna go off my own memory here. And I'm blending out the colors here into the black. I don't want to do a solid color across there. I want it to have I want some of that black to still come shining through. So I'll go now over on the other side of it. And, you know, you just need to do the things that make it easy for you and simple for you. Maybe there's maybe you can sit down and just sketch out, like I have a wine bottle, and you've got one in your head that you could do. And if that's the case, then that's great. Just do that. But you know, if you need to set up a little bit of a prop to do it, that's fine. There's not one thing wrong with that. Whatever makes it easy for you, makes you comfortable, is what you need to do. So we've kind of blocked that in, and I'll have like a label. Probably I'm going to grab a little more white here. Maybe we'll put a label in, kind of wrapping around the side of the bottle here. So we'll just kind of do this a little lighter. And again, I'm just kind of dry brushing this on so that it's not real thick paint, it's pretty dry, and I'm basically just scumbling it into the canvas. Again, if you notice, I've got a lot of that black canvas is still showing through, and that's exactly what we're wanting. So we've got that pretty well at least blocked in, underpainted. So now I'm going to take and do this wine glass, and I'm going to take and come in with a little more of that white into that mix we had there. A little burnt or yellow ochre coming in there, and a little bit of the burnt sienna. And this is all a feel thing, you know. There's a lot of people that paint do, you know, they try to do it where there's a lot of, you know, parts this, part color, part this color to mix up. But I just kind of just do it by feel, and I've found that it works good for me, and it gives you a lot more freedom. You're not so locked into having to do it a certain way. So I've got this wine glass now that we're gonna just block in. And again, you know, there's all sorts of different types of wine glasses, and if there's a type that you like better than another, then paint it. All right, so I'm just scumbling in that color in. It's going to be a pretty short stem on this wine glass. The goblet part's going to be larger. Yeah, that's looking good. Let me bring that out a little. Try to keep these things symmetrical too, so that they come down and have the same contour. Like here, you notice this is quite curved and rounded, and this is more flat. So I need to come back in and make this a little more rounded here. Yeah, that's better. Still not quite right, but That's the thing with the underpainting, is that, you know, this is where you take and you fine tune what that design is going to be like. And of course, if you're sitting there at home, you can take a little more time to do it. I try to do these shows where I don't do anything to the painting in between episodes, so you can pretty much watch exactly the process that I go through. Now I want to take and just develop that back edge of the glass. So we want to have that a little darker here. So I'm going to take that that purple, and I want to grab some of the burnt sienna, incorporate that in there. I'm going to grab a little of the umber as well. And we'll just take that. And this is, because it's pretty much eye level, it's not, you're not going to see a whole lot of that back edge, but you'll see a little bit of it. So and of course it'll be a little darker through that section there. Now we need to kind of figure out, oh, we'll do just a little bit here. I want to develop that a little darker so that we can see that a bit better. We're going to be doing this so that this, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show is because of, this painting today is, a lot of people struggle with doing glass, and I wanted to do it so that you can see that it really isn't as difficult to do as what you would think, to get the effects of actual glass. So we've done that. So we need to figure out kind of where our light source is going to be coming from on this, so that we can kind of start developing a shadowed section versus the light. And I think what I would like to do is, I think I'd like it where the light is coming in from our left side here. So it would be casting a little bit of a shadow off of the glass here, and we can develop that shadow in here in probably next week. But we'll take and just kind of darken up that right side and kind of give these a little more 3-dimension. So again, we're just grabbing the purple, and if you notice, the purple in nature is almost always, you'll see purples and lavenders. So I got that. I just put straight purple in there, and of course it's still blending with all of those other colors because they're still wet on the canvas. And we're going to do the same thing with this side of the bottle, this right edge. And we'll just bring it down and kind of blend it over so that it gives some 3-dimension to that bottle itself. And I'm very much of a dry brush process here, not covering up all of the paint that we put on there before, just blending it. And we could probably still go a little bit darker with that, so I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to grab a little bit of that burnt umber. I'm going to throw that in with the purple. And yes, you can buy just straight black paint, but I really prefer to kind of mix it myself because it gives a little warmer feel to it. I still want it a little darker than that, so I'm going to grab that burnt umber and some more of the purple. Yeah, that's better. I like that better. If you notice, I'm really doing it loose along those edges there. I don't want any real sharp edges on the edge. That looks pretty good. I don't think I'm going to develop any more on that for right now. I think we're just going to leave that for today. And that's a good start to our little wine painting here we're going to be doing, I'm just hitting just a little bit, just to do a little on the shadow side. So between now and next week, if you've got like to be painting along with me, you know, just it's real easy to get caught up with what we've got going there, and I think you'll enjoy it. Just the freedom of sitting down with some paint, and maybe you got a glass of wine you need to empty while you're doing the painting. Looks like our time is almost up, and I'd like to leave you with, like I do every week, with a few words. Here, a number of years ago, I wrote a book. Still haven't got the thing published quite yet, but it's kind of a little play on the name of this show. The name of the show here is Art and Soul. The name of the book is called Heart and Soul, S-O-L-E. And the whole book has analogies comparing relationships to the foot and to shoes. Sounds like a kind of a crazy idea, but I want to leave you with this thought. This is a section out of the book, and I talk in there about how that relationships, looking for a relationship, is often like shoe shopping. You go out and you buy a pair of shoes for whatever reason. You buy them because they fit. In the store, they don't feel bad, they feel pretty good. You buy them because they're on sale, they're in style. Any number of reasons why we would buy them. But we get them home, we start wearing them, and we go, oh man, that kind of hurts my toe there, or that hurts my heel. And my instinct is to go, yeah, it's okay. I'll just wear it some more, and if I do, it'll break in, and it'll feel comfortable. Unfortunately, at least in my experience, if it doesn't fit at the beginning, it's not going to fit in the end. So that analogy carries over into relationships and into work and in families and a lot of different aspects of our life. If something in your life doesn't feel right, it just doesn't fit right, don't take and try to force it, because if you try to force it and work your way through it, a lot of times you're going to end up affecting a lot of other things. Just like with a shoe, if it's not fitting right, you walk a little different just to compensate for it, your knee starts hurting, your hip starts hurting, your back starts hurting, all because your shoe doesn't fit. So if something in your life isn't working for you, don't take and waste a bunch of time with that. If it's not something that can be fixed, then move on. Find another pair of shoes. I hope that this show is inspiring to you with what I do for painting, as well as what I can say to you. I want to encourage you in everything that's going on in your life. Feel good about yourself. Take time for yourself to be creative. And if you'll do that and keep your eyes focused on the direction you're wanting to go, good things will come to you. I know they will. At the end of the show here are the credits with how to get a hold of me with my email and Facebook account. Please contact me if you've got any question, and tell your friends about me if you would. I would appreciate it. Until next time, be creative. I'll see you next week on Art and Soul. CJ, I love you.